We are in southern Utah now, near St. George, close to Zion. I left Sedona on Friday, spent a couple of days outside of Vegas, went to Valley of Fire State Park, did some hiking and camping around there. But I'm going to have a fire tonight for the first time, second time since I've been in the van. It's almost 3 o'clock now, so it's like perfect time to maybe go fish for like an hour and then come up here and get set up and get ready to start making dinner. Come here, bud. I just set my stuff down and walked to the other side of the creek. I didn't see anything in this pool. It's really thick. So I think we're gonna call it for today and go make some dinner and maybe see if there's another spot further downstream. I'm still just working with the single burner stove, which makes things a little bit more difficult when you're cooking meals that have a few steps. So our first morning at a new campsite. We're still in southern Utah. Back behind me is Zion National Park. Probably going to drive through once we get out of this area, but being that I have Cub with me, I probably won't really be getting out and doing much hiking in Zion. Maybe just walking along the paved trails that he's allowed on, but I definitely want to drive through. But south of Zion, this way, there's a pretty good trail. Stay over here, bud. That was probably one of the more relaxing mornings that I've had since I've been in the van. Did some journaling, did some reading, drank my coffee, had a nice view. Now I need to do some cleanup, some dishes from this morning and from last night. And I need to get the van repositioned so that I can get the solar panels set up. And then I think we're going to go for a hike. I might sit down and try to plan out what the next week or so is going to look like and where we're going to go. But I guess I don't really have to do that right this second. Being on the road so far has been a little bit of a roller coaster. I have days where it feels really frustrating to try to do all of the things that I need to do to try to get laundry done and go to the gym and get a shower, but then also make sure that Cub isn't sitting in the van all day. But then you don't really want to stretch those kinds of tasks out into multiple days, because then it feels like you're not really taking advantage of the whole point of being in the van. But in the grand scheme of things, those aren't really that big of problems. Those are just the trade-offs that you make for living this kind of lifestyle and being able to wake up with views like this. And sometimes you have to, that roller coaster involves going through those frustrations, but then waking up and having the gratitude that I don't have to go drive into some office somewhere, which has never really been my reality for the last almost 10 years of my life now, living, doing seasonal work and traveling a lot. That's never really been something that I had to worry too much about. So, like I said, kind of that roller coaster is it's the roller coaster of emotions of feeling grateful for being able to do stuff like this and not getting too caught up in the frustrations. But it's different for everybody, and I don't pretend to have all the answers, and I don't also try not to beat myself up about having quote-unquote bad days. I think that I give myself a little bit too much shit sometimes for, I have this narrative in my head that I have managed to make myself feel unhappy in any situation that I've been in. Maybe I need to move away from that narrative and have a little bit more grace with myself for having bad days and not always feeling happy, and remembering that it's okay to be frustrated. And it seems like common sense, and it is, I guess, but I think sometimes it's easy to forget that I have put a lot of work and effort into crafting the sort of life that a lot of people would be very grateful to have. I don't really know what the point of talking about all of this right now is, because I've got shit to do. Actually, that's the point. The point is that I'm procrastinating doing dishes because I don't want to fucking do these dishes. But I need to, so. It got pretty dark out there after the sun went down. It looks like it's going to be pretty clear tonight, and try to get some astrophotography. Actually ended up coming back to the same camp area that we were at for the last 2 nights, but we're in a different spot. I didn't save my spot because I wasn't necessarily planning on coming back here, but Cub and I went and did our hike. It was really cool. I ran into a group of people that were going a little bit further. I'm kind of mad that I wasn't prepared to go a little bit further. I didn't have enough water for the two of us, and all I had to eat before the hike was an apple and a protein bar, and I didn't bring any extra food with me. I brought treats for him, but so I just wasn't prepared to do the full 8-mile hike. Ended up deciding to come back here again because it was a shorter drive back here, relax a little bit this evening before heading back in towards town so that I can get a shower tomorrow and then head towards Zion. I've made YouTube videos, a couple of years ago when, no one's watching now, but especially no one was watching back then. But I've made videos before talking about my history with alcohol. And quick rundown, I drank a whole lot from the time I was 18 in college all the way till I was 30. And then I got my second DUI when I was 30 years old, and I stopped drinking for almost 5 years. I started drinking again slowly, just kind of reintroduced it back into my life. I had even during that like 5 years of not drinking, I did have on like Thanksgiving and Christmas with family, I had like a glass of wine or whatever. But it never snowballed into anything more than that. So I feel really lucky that I was able to quit and sort of like recalibrate my relationship with alcohol. I do want to keep making videos, and come this summer when I'm working full-time back at the ranch in Wyoming again, I'm not going to be able to be making travel videos. But if I wanted to make something, I can still, shoot some outdoor stuff, go fishing, go hiking, and then also tie that in and talk about life and give advice to people younger than me and talk about mistakes that I've made and how you can avoid the same mistakes. I just know that style of content helped me a lot when I was trying to make changes in my life, and if I can sort of pay it forward by making that type of content, and it's also just like selfishly, it's helpful for me. It's like a video journal, just being able to like spew out all of these thoughts. I'm gonna stop talking now and relax, finish this beer, and then make some burgers for dinner. Cubs passed out in the shade. I haven't filmed anything at all really for 3 or 4 days now. Kind of needed a little break. Kind of weird to say that you need a break from something that is just a hobby, but it does take a lot of effort to put together these like 15 to 20 minute long YouTube videos, to film enough stuff, to have enough content. I mean, they don't have to be that long, obviously, but especially something that I don't get paid for. I don't make any money off of YouTube. Obviously, I've sold a little bit of like vertical video and some photos to brands this winter while I've been on the road, but I don't know. I just needed a break. Being out on the road this winter, I've kind of recalibrated some of my priorities a little bit. Not necessarily on purpose. It's just kind of what happens when you do something like this. I knew that there was a chance coming in that this wouldn't be something that I felt like I wanted to do long term. I just knew that it was something that I'd always told myself that I wanted to try. And so if I make the decision to get off the road for a little bit, short of the absolute like maximum time frame that I had to do this, I don't look at that as any sort of like failure by any means or quitting or anything like that. I think something that I've learned over the years is if you continue doing something but it's not serving you, you're just spinning your wheels, or I guess even to put another way, another little aphorism that I like is continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results as the definition of insanity. So while I don't necessarily think that it would be insane if I feel like it's not the best thing for me to do, or it's not my priority anymore, then I can do that and feel comfortable with it. Where have I been resisting change in my life? And by letting go of that resistance or allowing that change, what would be the outcome of that? For the first time in probably almost 3 years, I had the realization that moving forward with this idea that I was somehow going to make a career out of photo and video, that actually kind of like flipped on itself. And now I've been resisting the change that might not be the path. Resisting that change is one of the reasons that I probably chose to do this in the first place, and that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with the fact that I made the decision to do the van life thing this winter. But I've had a couple of realizations. That's one of them, and then also that I've struggled my whole life, or most of my life at least, with I was getting too tired trying to walk and talk and hold the camera at the same time. I don't remember exactly where I left off, but going through that process, it also kind of sparked something else, and realizing that I've always had a little bit of a struggle with black and white, seeing things black and white. And it's even though I'm aware of it, but it's still sometimes hard to push through some of that dichotomous thinking that things are either one way or a different way. And I'm definitely better at it in certain areas than others. But when it comes to my personal shit, like my progress and self-improvement and whatever, that's sort of where I struggle with the black and white thing. Allowing myself to get too tied to my identity. I think that I've sort of been tying myself to this identity of someone who enjoys the outdoors and kind of has this little bit of somewhat doing things and following a life path that's counterculture, or not following the status quo. I feel there's a better terminology that I'm not thinking of right now, but because I'm this person, because I'm this kind of person that enjoys the outdoors and wants to do things differently, that the only way for me to do that is by doing it full time, living in a van. And that's not really how I feel, but allowing myself to kind of have not have a ton of clarity around what that actually meant. So anyway, long way of saying that part of me is trying to get over making the decision to get off the road and kind of be done with van life for a little bit at least. I'm not going to do it again next winter. Part of the struggle for me is thinking that that says something about me, my identity, that I couldn't do it, that I'm not actually the type of person that enjoys this lifestyle. I'm not actually this kind of person that enjoys nature. Other people do it better than I do, and it's just not true. But like I said, kind of struggling with that, grappling with that identity and who I am. Journaling about it has been helpful, but it's allowed me to kind of see things through a slightly different lens and have different perspective on things and shift my priorities a little bit. I realize that there's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. That's with pretty much everything in life. So I realize I'm just trading off different problems for these problems.